Jesus, Mary, and Joseph. This short talk may be titled Eucharistic-Centered Life. Father Justin, Blessed Father Justin, fell in love with Jesus in the Eucharist on the day of his first Holy Communion. And since then, his life was Christ-centered. In addition to going to Mass every day, every morning, and receiving Holy Communion, he used to visit often the Blessed Sacrament. As a matter of fact, some of his contemporaries have testified that while young Justin was a seminarian on vacation, one day while Justin was praying, kneeling before the Blessed Sacrament, they saw him levitating, and they started yelling and screaming, "Father Justin is suspended in the air. Father Justin is hanging in the air." The parish priest, Father Salvatore Di Fusco at the time, heard the noise, saw Father Justin elevated from the floor, ordered the kids to keep quiet, and let Father Justin remain in his ecstatic contemplation. And then, after about half an hour, they saw him slowly coming down and resting on the steps of the altar. And this experience of love, of First Communion, of the first known ecstasy of love before Jesus in the Blessed Sacrament, made see that his life would be totally Christ-oriented life. And the reality of Christ to whom Justin was relating was Jesus Eucharist, Jesus host. He felt not only the presence, but the friendship of Jesus, so that he could not have a full day or a joyful day without receiving Holy Communion. And as a matter of fact, when he was ordained a priest on September 20, 1914, the only gift he asked from his relatives and friends said, "The only gift I really appreciate to have is having all the children of Pianura who have received First Communion be present and receive communion during my first Mass." From this relationship of love with Jesus Eucharist, Father Justin started to understand as very tender age that Jesus Eucharist is supposed to be the model and the exemplar of our life. As a matter of fact, later on, he put down and they came out with this beautiful short prayer: Eucharistic Heart of Jesus, unite us perfectly to your adoration, thanksgiving, preparation, and intercession, and make of us with you a host of sacrifice to the Trinity and sacrament to the souls. So, was not only the idea of receiving Holy Communion, but the idea that sustained and guided him was to become like Jesus, a victim offered to the Father for the forgiveness of sins, and a sacrament for the souls, an occasion, an opportunity, an instrument of sanctification for all souls. That's why he taught us, whenever we go out for a walk, always aim at the closest church where Jesus is present in the Blessed Sacrament. He taught us to orient ourselves, even in our rooms, in our study, so that we could be facing the closest tabernacle, so that we would live this communion with Jesus Eucharist. And again, communion for him was so important that he used to divide the day in two parts. From morning till noon was thanksgiving for the Holy Communion he had received in the morning. From afternoon till night was preparation to communion of the next day. And this practice that he experienced in his own life, he taught to us, members of his religious communities, so that the Eucharist would really be the center of our life. And again, one of the characteristics of Father Justin's spirituality is the fact that he promotes divine union through what we call the pathway of consecrations. Consecrations is an act of dedication, of free offering of oneself to God, taking the motive from the consecration that takes place during the Holy Mass, that causes the transformation of the bread and wine into the body and blood of Christ. He wants us to fill our life with continuous consecrations so that we may be transformed into another Jesus. Every consecration is the transformation of the human being into a perfect image and likeness of Jesus Christ. Again, communion was distributed in Pianura when Father Justin became pastor of Pianura with great solemnity. He used to say the early morning Mass at 4:30 to give an opportunity to the farmers who were supposed to go and work in their fields, or to the office employees that to walk through the near city of Naples so that they could take communion before going to work. And Pianura became a town where close to 1,000 people used to receive communion every day. And during the distribution of communion, he had the children forming like a cross with candles, with two people holding a linen before the communicants, and all people were coming in procession to receive Holy Communion, singing Eucharistic songs. So it was like a big feast, a big rejoicing of the community that was celebrating the eternal coming of Christ to us. And so he preached continuous communion. The effects of my communion of today will continue till tomorrow, and tomorrow will increase a little more, so that everyone, every day, even though I receive the same communion, the same Christ, there is a higher degree of participation and intensity in my love and in my surrender to Jesus Christ, in our identifying ourselves and becoming one with Jesus, giving himself and ourselves to the service of souls.